Hi, Valentina here, ValentinaPetrovaConsulting.com, photobombed by little Lulu. She doesn't want to stay on the ground. She wants to be on my lap. So I'll just keep her here and see how long that's going to last. So today I was amused by the latest Facebook challenge. I was scrolling to my feed and I see all these collages people make, what 10 years would do to you. So pictures of themselves from 10 years ago versus contemporary pictures, and comparing the two. And I was thinking to myself, well, hell, if you're 20, between 20 and 30, you're not going to see that much difference. Between 40 and 50, you're going to start seeing a lot of difference. And between 50 and 60, yeah, you're going to definitely see a difference. It's like hard to win that game, right? Despite of the amount of money you might want to spend on various cosmetic options, you just can't beat aging and gravity and elements, right? So that's a losing game, and it's kind of depressing, maybe. There's a better way to look at yourself. How much difference did the last 10 years make in the quality of your life, in the kinds of choices that you make, in the kind of person that you are? Are you a better person now than you were 10 years ago? What have you learned? Is your retirement account much fatter now than it was 10 years ago? And that's a good thing to fatten up, right? Your retirement account. What's your living situation? Is it better or is it worse? If you are not making progress in meaningful ways with your relationships, with your finances, with your aspirations for yourself, for your life, 10 years were wasted, totally wasted. No amount of video games and no amount of TV shows will improve the quality of your life. Just none, right? No amount of junk food is going to give you more than just an instant pleasure, perhaps, and then your Facebook picture is going to look really terrible 10 years later, because if that's your diet, you're not going to make it. You're not going to look very well 10 years later. Okay, little Belle, relax. You don't want to be in the camera? What are you going to look like 10 years from now? I know real life is better now. I got her in May, so she kind of like won the jackpot, went from living in a cage to being the queen of the castle here and getting extra attention. So as far as Lulu is concerned, the quality of her life has greatly improved since May. And in dog years, that could easily be 10 years. So what about you? Do you ever think about that? And when are you going to start thinking about it? Are you going to waste the next 10 years doing the same shit over and over again with the same unfinished home projects? Maybe you're still living with your parents. How old are you? If you're more than 22 and you're still living with your parents, you're a way late bloomer. Unless you're there to take care of them, you have no reason to share a house with your parents. At least not for longer than a weekend. So consider that. How are you a better person today? Are you a better person today? Or are you a crusty old asshole because you just kind of cemented yourself into your negativity? That's not okay. What do you do every day to make your life better tomorrow? Some of those things are sacrifices, like if you want your retirement account to get fatter, maybe you shouldn't have 3 cocktails every Friday night with your friends, because that's like $35-50 right there. Once a week, that's close to $200, $150-200 a month. You can take that money and stick them in your retirement account. Over time, compound interest does its magic. And there you are, 35 years later, with a lot more cash in your pocket than you think. It goes for everything else. Money is kind of easy to measure because you can see it grow, you can see it change. But there's other things. He's still talking about the same shit, the same complaints with the same people. If you are, either you need to change your friends, or you need to change your outlook, or both. You can't for 10 years be the same person. It's a waste of your potential. It's a waste of your time. So that's the kind of challenge I'd like to see. I like to see people maybe post a picture or a story of who they were 10 years ago versus who they are today. Now, how's their life different today? How is their life? How is your life better today than it was 10 years ago? And not just because you have a fancier phone and you can take fancier pictures of yourself, right? In qualitative, meaningful ways. Your relationships, are you cycling through the same kind of a stupid relationship over and over again? Are you having the same arguments with your significant others? Are you hating your kids? Are you complaining about your bosses? Think about these things. In your career, where are you? You know, like are you still from one dead-end job to another, just kind of floating around trying to pay the bills? Or are you actually growing in your professional life? I know some younger folks who are just basically in dead-end jobs, or like just cheesy jobs. You can't really make that much money even if you get a raise here and there, who kept talking about, well, one day I'll go to college. And I'm thinking to myself, one day is not an actual day on the calendar. I looked. There is no one day in January or February or March or all the way to December. There are specific dates, but no one day. And someday is not on the calendar either. So if someday or one day you hope to do something, it's never going to get done because that day does not exist. You want it done? You put it on your calendar. You start doing little things at the time. If you want to own a restaurant, well, you might want to start with researching how people run restaurants or the restaurant environment in your town, and the regulations, and what do you need to open a restaurant, and start looking at locations, and maybe taking some culinary courses and learn about managing employees in a restaurant, and save some money so you can bankroll that restaurant for the next 2 years, because we all know that's a very tough industry and most restaurants are dead within the first 2 years of opening. So but someday you're not going to open a restaurant if today you don't start the process. And you start the process a little bit at a time. And every day you do a little bit in that direction. And then you'll get there. You'll be ready. And it could be anything else that you want. You want to go back to school. Well, not someday. Call today. Figure out what school you want to go to, what you want to study, and call the admissions office and see what you need to get your butt out the door. It's how it's done. One little thing at a time. You want to lose weight? You don't crash diet yourself for 3 weeks or live off of juice, lose a bunch of weight, and then come back to donuts and expect that weight to stay off. You change your lifestyle one little bit at a time. You clean up your fridge. You throw away the cookies from your pantry. You start walking. You get yourself a little app that keeps track of how much you're walking, so you're not deluding yourself that you're actually walking when you're not walking. You know, walking back and forth to the fridge doesn't count. Little things amount to huge changes over time. You pick something, you do a little bit at a time, consistently, every day. In 2, 3, 5 years, you will amass incredible amount of knowledge, experience, and you'll be so much further ahead than you imagine you could be. It's amazing. So, what's your story in 10 years from now? And what story are you writing right now? If you're looking at your picture, You want to compare today to 10 years ahead? I guarantee you 10 years from now, you look at yourself, you're going to get depressed. So think about that. Make that your challenge. Make the challenge be, how can my life be better 10 years from now than it is now? And go for it. And don't dilute yourself that you can do it alone. You'll need support. You'll need support from the people around you. They got to get on the same page as you. You can't decide that you're going to quit drinking, start running, go to the gym, and eat healthy while your significant other brings a six-pack at home every night, sits in front of the TV with a pizza, and drinks all the beer. Not going to happen. The two of you need to be out there walking. The two of you need to be at the gym, you know. The two of you need to get on green juice and forget the beer. So the people in your life make a difference. And they're not going to just roll over and do it the way you want it just because you said. So prepare for some assertiveness. Might want to take an assertiveness training, right? And have resolve in what you're doing. So you need support from everybody. And often you need support from someone like me, like a life coach, who can keep you on track, keep you accountable, and keep nagging you about the shit you said you're going to do. Give you deadlines and then go, did you get it done? Okay, let's go to the next step. And then we, life coaches, we move you along. We figure out what is it that you want? Why do you think you want it? And how is the best way for you to get it? And then we move you along. We hold you by your hand. We call you. We email you. We keep you on track. Right. Because if you could do it by yourself, you would have done it already. Just think about that. Right? When you were in high school, let's say you want to be a cheerleader. You can't just be a cheerleader by yourself. You need a team and you need a coach. Right? You can't do anything by yourself. You need people there with you on the path, some supporting you, some leading you, some inspiring you. You got to stay on track. All right, so that's my challenge to you. What are you going to do to make your life better 10 years from now, from where you are to where you're going? How are you going to get there? Do something a little bit every day. If you need to call me, ValentinaPetrovaConsulting.com. And I'll see you guys next time, with or without little Lulu.